This is Heavy to Hustle, where excuses die and real ones rise. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Heavy to Hustle. We are what is this, honey? Episode 7, 8?
Anyways, moving on.
Well, we'll get back to you on that
I
one.
never get it right.
Yeah, we do. But, today we got a really good episode. We've been, in the works and really trying to get this episode out. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We want to introduce to you guys Diego and Desiree. They are part of our community. Diego here has a barbershop that he owns and operates. It's called Headliners Barbershop right here in the city of Downey, California. And me, myself, I am a customer. So, we're going to talk about, basically, how he got into it and really just get into it, and not just the business side of it or, how he started up, but also really bring up the family dynamic and the support that, that's led him to his success. So, Sandy, you got any input? Anything you want to say?
No, I'm excited to hear your story. And I gotta say, I know you said you started about 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Dude,
After high school.
Were you like in third grade
I know,
when
because
you started?
you guys look so young. I'm like, well, were you in fifth grade?
I'll take that as a compliment. I actually started right after high school. I was, I would say about 16 years old,
Okay.
17 years old. I, like anybody else, my mom, hey, what are you gonna do you're gonna go to school, and at that time, I went to a continuation school. I wasn't the smartest kid, so after the continuation school, I graduated earlier than my actual class did.
Oh,
So
wow.
I graduated a semester earlier, so it gave me time to really reflect and, man, what do I want to do in my life, And my parents always just being persuasive, like, hey, you got to do something. I'm gonna be honest. I have two older sisters, and they went to school, they did their thing, but I did see how hard it was for them to actually do what they wanted to do, right? Get their job. One studied criminal justice, and although I have, she loves what she did. I mean, school was fun. You could tell she was having a good time, but at the end of the day, it's like it comes down to, your career and how fast, and I saw that, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to, on top of you got to pay money for schooling.
Yeah,
I
it's
was like,
expensive.
I didn't want my
Yeah.
parents to go through that. They're Hispanic. My dad is the only one working. So I seen it more as of like, man, I see, he provided for us as much as he could over the years. I'm perfectly fine, grew up, didn't die of hunger, so
Yeah.
I was always like, you know what, I want to help him in a different way, even if it means me not going to school, but I just want to make sure I attack something and go full on. And barbering was kind of like, I just saw it as something that could grow. Everybody needs a haircut, you know what I mean? Like, and when I first started, it was just old people, I worked at a salon, and I was the youngest one there, and people were like, hey, but what are you gonna do with your what are you gonna do for actual career? And you just start
Yeah.
second guessing yourself. But that's kind of how it all started, just not knowing what I wanted to do for myself. I knew that just knowing a trait with your hands, right? Like something that you could just a service. Um, it was just gonna be a plan B for me, if I'm being honest. But once I saw the potential, I said, you know what, if I go full, take my time and actually dedicate to it, I'm gonna make something out of this. And then, yeah, I mean, social media came up, and now we're here. Barbering is probably one of the biggest growing industries.
Yeah.
The people get to charge whatever they want. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it started. It was just off of if I'm being honest, it's something I could make quick money out of, a trade I
Exactly.
could learn, but I went to school for it. I did barbering school. I got my license. So I think that's what set a foundation for me. I feel like that was kind of
So did you go? So when you started cutting hair, you said just right off the bat you started working like at a barbershop salon, or were you working or doing like
at first I started at home. I went
Okay.
and bought some clippers, and I just wanted to get a feel for it.
Right.
How do I work this machine, right? So I have a little brother. He was actually the first client. He was the first victim.
Right.
I mean, it was just every week, just trying something new, messing up his hairline. And, a good friend of mine as well. His name is Jason. One of the victims that, again, I mean, wasn't the best haircut, but I just, I guess my energy, the way I just went about it, I really showed them like, man, I want to do something with this.
Right.
And that's how I started, at home. And then once I got the confidence, I told my dad, you know what? I think I'm ready to go to school for this because it's kind of like driving without a license. You could drive,
Mm.
but you're always gonna have it in the back of your head. If I get stopped,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
screwed. They could take away my car. Now I got bills to pay. Now I gotta pull it out. More money invested into something. When you could have just done it the right way,
Right.
Right.
and it benefits you overall. So
I mean, is it like, what is it? Because I know I've heard some people that, that they're cutting hairs and they, procrastinate to go to school and do. I mean, is it just more than anything time consuming or?
yes, I think it's the time. I don't think it's the way because it's hard. I think it's mainly the time. Once, thankfully, and again, I started when I was young, right after high school.
Okay.
So when I decided to tell my parents about me not wanting to go to college and telling them I wanted to go to barber school, I didn't have a job. So my dad was actually the one that, held it down and supported me. Back to what I tell a lot of people, not just because you're successful now, there's times you gotta, ask your people for help,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
there's
It's
nothing wrong with it.
that support system.
Exactly. It's about what you do with it, though. Once my dad gave me that help, I told myself, my biggest goal now is to not ask him for a single thing because he already gave me the platform, right? He
Mhm.
paid for my school, so now if I mess up here, that's on me, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much how it started. Um, it was just a matter of me just deciding, what do I want to do for myself? And yeah, I was with the support of my parents and the discipline of myself to be able to just, thrive because you got, when we're fresh out of high school, you got friends that are doing electrician school. They actually go and get trades that are like, okay, for a fact they're gonna get a good job. For me, I was playing with mannequin heads, sectioning hair. So it was just kind of
Yeah, you start getting cold feet,
doubted
right?
myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really gonna do this for a living, but I don't know, man. I guess my mentality at the time, which I'm thankful for, I didn't have a partner at the time, so I was just solo, just disciplined, and I was like, you know what, I have faith in this. Maybe,
But and you know what? Like, it's like you said, like you stated out something very, very, something that stood out is like, although you were single and fresh out of high school, you stayed consistent, you stayed positive, and you decided to do something with it.
yeah,
A lot of kids, they get out of high school and the first thing they say is like, "Oh, well, I need a break." Because obviously, they've been going to school for 12 plus years. They don't want to, a lot of them don't want to go and, continue to pursue, a career or work or whatever. So the fact that you said, you know what, like, this is something that, that's going to bring me income, although you probably didn't know that this was going to be, the career,
yeah.
but you said, "Hey, I can make some money out of it, and why not give it a shot?"
Yeah, 100%. I just felt like it was gonna be something sustainable, right? Like I could always, if I didn't have money that week, someone needs a haircut, right?
Right.
I could just, I'm not gonna die of hunger. That was my
Yeah.
main thing, right? Because at the moment, I didn't, I was just, again, I went to a continuation school. My academic wasn't the greatest, right? I felt like, realistically, I wasn't good in school, so I had to
But
just,
some of the most successful people
Yeah.
yeah.
were not.
Yeah. Were
So,
were you like a C student?
I was,
There you
and
go.
my biggest thing is, I was, it's funny because growing up, I didn't know what it was, but every teacher would tell my parents like, your kid he can't stay still. He needs to be moving. He needs to be.
Yeah.
So, later on, I realized I had ADHD, right? And it was a good thing and a bad thing. Now that I'm older, I feel it more because I'm aware of it. And again, I'm thankful for it because that's what made me push to where I am now, right?
Right.
I just feel like I got to get things done. I feel bad for her because when she met me, it was like she didn't expect it, right? I mean, when you first go out with someone, you're not, you're yourself, but you're like, I don't want to show her that like side of me where like I'm just, but I met her before the whole barbershop started. So she knows exactly what I'm talking about. I always want to be moving. And that was a big reason to why I was able to just, do what I did. clients seen it, I'm just so talkative and stuff, and that's what brings people coming back to in this industry, right?
Yeah.
Your energy. Yeah, I mean, that's how it all started. It was just, if I'm being honest, did I expect to make it this far? No. It was just something that I knew was gonna just provide for me for, while I found my actual career, if I'm being honest. But now it was just, I'm glad that I took this route and I stuck through it, and now I'm able to help other people, now I'm able
Yeah.
to just, provide for them and their families, so
Yeah, yeah,
it's pretty
you
dope.
definitely you definitely set the stage for people that want to pursue this career. And so when did you come into the picture with Diego?
Well, when we went out, it was more of a thought. It was like, oh, I want to open my barbershop. So it was just like, no, I would think like, oh, how is he going to open a barbershop?
Right.
You don't really believe it. But yeah, eventually we were together and we started looking together. I helped him look for leases. We're like, okay, let's look for a spot. And from there, it was like, okay, it's real. And the first thought was the Barber Hut. That was the first name. We were like, okay, that's nice. And then,
Barber Hut.
yeah, and then from there we went. Well, he ended up choosing Headline Barbers.
Barber Hut. That sounds pretty catchy, actually.
It was funny because I mean, like I said, just something different, right?
Mhm.
When you go to change or when you want to buy sunglasses, you go to the Sunglass Hut.
Right.
Right.
I
The
there was,
Hut.
yeah, the Pizza Hut,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was
It
just
sounds good stuff.
and it was just I know there was another for like chicken, the Chicken Hut, and then stuff
Yeah.
like that. So to me, it was just like I wanted something different. I didn't want to throw my last name in there because again, when someone works for you, I seen this in a video somewhere where it's like it's true. But, if I ever wanted to work at a spot, you don't want to. I mean, it's cool. There's nothing wrong with it, but like they ask you where do you work, and you say someone else's last name, it makes it feel like it's not a real. You know what I mean? Like it's just you're working for him or it's his
Yeah.
job, rather than like picking a name, right? Just a certain name where everybody could adapt to it.
Yeah, it's a brand,
Like
and
a headline, right? It's not
yeah.
like Cortez haircuts. There you go. Oh, I work at Cortez. Who's Cortez? Oh, it's the owner. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's like I just wanted something where I could eventually turn it into, whether it's clothing, hats, it's just headline, right? That was just a catchy name for myself, and yeah, I mean that was just what I went with for the sake of my barbers as well. I think long term. At the end of the day, that's what I think. I want them to feel comfortable long term when they say where they work. They want to say it with confidence. And yeah, I just wanted to start off, just like anything, right? We start off small and we just start scaling and see where it goes from there. If you notice that it's not, something's not hitting, then you adapt. Yeah, but I just felt like this was the best route, although people were like Cortez. Well, in Spanish, that's Cortes, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
clever.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what, that is clever. But I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't regret it, right?
But
And
that name sounds elite, though.
yeah,
Because when he told me, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Headline or his Barbers or something." When he first told me, I was like, "That shit sounds classy." I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, wait, how much is it gonna cost?
Yeah,
How much is it gonna
and
cost?
it's just funny because
Yeah.
like it's when I first you know started looking for a spot. Once you find the spot, they ask for all the information. What are you gonna name it? I didn't even know the name of it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just funny the way you come about things. It's natural. And yeah, we were on a little vacation. We were at Joshua Tree. I was just relaxing. I knew I had to figure out a name by the time I got back and lo behold, Drake comes out, the headline song.
Okay.
And, it was just like the headline. And I told her about it, and she's like, "Isn't that what you give the barbers?" I'm like, "No, that's a lineup." But
Right.
then again, that just made it like, oh, headline. It was just like it just adapts.
You just gravitated towards it,
Yeah,
right?
it was just a name that I was like, you know what?
That's a great story,
it
though. I
it
don't
was
think you
funny.
give that credit, and
Yeah. So
that
now
should be that we should start with that.
yeah, and
Like,
every time I hear that song,
Yeah.
now it's like in my head, right? It's just a theme song to me, like it brings back
Yeah.
a lot of memories. Sometimes we're just vibing and you hear the headline,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
an uplifting song, right?
It is.
Right.
So it makes you feel good, and I'll never forget that moment, right? When I came about it and I just knew. She's my biggest critic.
Mm.
I asked her, "Hey, tell me the truth."
We have to be.
And it's like
Yeah,
we
we
tell
have
them,
to.
"Hey, tell me the truth," and then they tell you the truth, and you're
Mhm.
like, you get mad about it.
Yeah.
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 But it's the truth. And it was like, I mean, once I told her about the name and she agreed and hey, it sounds good. I didn't even move it anymore. I said, you know what? I mean, we'll go from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a start point, and And yeah, now here we are, and
Well, I mean, you make it sound really easy, but let's get into that. Like you said, right? Like you guys found the spot. You had to come up with the name and everything. But like once once you guys went in there, like what was the process like? For like, and this is more like also going for anybody that's in the industry that wants to pursue to open up their barber shop. Like, um, I mean, was it a breeze to get it up and running or?
look, so first of all, I mean, in this country, you live in the US, credit is everything.
Yeah.
You could have money, but one thing I learned, and I learned the hard way, was credit. I used to just work and get paid cash, and I used to think, oh, well, I have this much saved up. I could go and get myself this car or this house, it was. It's if you have the capital, it doesn't work that way, right? You got to show where you got it from. Where did this come from, right? So, once I realized and I found that out, I knew I had a lot of work to do in a sense of like, okay, so now I gotta just, I gotta report everything I'm doing. If I'm gonna go legit, I actually gotta start doing things legitly. So, opened up my first bank account, started building my credit. And yeah, once my credit got good enough, that's when I said, you know what, I'm ready, which thankfully was after COVID. COVID was what really made me realize that I needed to move, because during COVID, it was a sad moment. A lot of people losing their jobs. I didn't work for like 5 months because we didn't know what was going on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We were just scared. And
It was crazy.
I have parents that are older already, so out of respect to them, I stopped working. But it gets to a point where you're just like, man, I gotta pay bills. And I had to talk to my mom. They set me up with a little canopy in the back of my house, and that's
Yeah.
where I really just started focusing. Okay, from here on out, I gotta open up a business because this whole back and forth working for someone else, I can't do this
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
At that time, I already had a license, so there was nothing stopping me from doing my own thing rather than me investing in it, right? Like,
I mean, besides COVID, because I remember in the beginning of COVID, I had a barber here, and
Listen. First of all, I applaud you
thank you.
because what you do is not. It's not. That's fucking art.
Yeah.
Okay. Because let me tell you something. I seen maybe like 20, 30 YouTube videos on how to do the
blending
the
and
the
everything.
you lower it, then you put it another way. It's like different settings to kind of do the fade or
It's
the
like
whatever that
coloring.
is.
It's like an artwork.
Yes.
bro, I was having 3D haircut. My lineup was coming at you like.
Yeah.
I went too far up. And so
Yeah.
at that point, I'm like, listen, there is no shading or whatever you call it, blending, or I don't know what you
Yeah,
guys call
yeah.
it. It's just a line.
Yeah.
So like it stops. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah,
At this
yeah.
point, just go bald.
Yeah, yeah.
My poor kids.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
boys.
Even our kids too. Yeah, luckily they weren't going to school at the time. Yeah, I had to wear a hat for like almost 2 years, or
Yeah.
until I found a lady that she was doing like some underground, hush hush, like it was in Bell Garden. We won't say the
It
name.
was in
I
Long
don't
Beach.
even think the lady had a sign, but
Don't throw my girl under the
used to know that. I
bus.
think I know what you're talking about.
No,
it's on B. It's in
you can't
BG.
say
but
it. We're a tight knit community up in here.
I'm not gonna throw you under the
No.
bus, but
Yeah, we'll look out.
yeah, no, but yeah, it was tough, man. Like, and so COVID was the one that said, all right, I need to lock in.
Yeah, I mean, it was just and look, after COVID, that's another thing. No price, the prices COVID was what changed everything. As far as prices never went back down because
Yeah.
before COVID, I was charging $25 haircut and beard. After COVID, I said, you know what? And the reason I did that is because I knew I have, acquaintances, barbers that used to work with me.
Yeah,
Hey
it's a
man,
small world.
hey, you're cutting hair. How much are you charging? 50. They're paying right now. And you would have clients crawling out of rocks and stuff you never seen because you just can't go to a barbershop around that time. So
No.
they were willing to pay because you were willing to do the service.
Yeah,
Mm.
So that's when I realized that, you know what, if they're willing to pay now, and I'm sure every barber felt the same way and every industry felt the
Yeah.
same way. We all had to come back to business and start making money. Things that you had to pay back for, how long were businesses closed for? So I'm sure that was a reason why stuff just got way more expensive. And same like I said, barbering. After the COVID, haircut stood at $40.
Yeah.
So, and that's how much we charge at the shop, right? 35 was a walk-in, $40 if you want an appointment. But yeah, it was COVID that made me realize, if when you have a trade, it's hard for someone to just take that from you.
Right.
Rather than when you work with someone, it's easy for them to just let you go. My dad was one of them, and it sucks,
Yeah, especially if you're not
Sucks.
non-essential, right?
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? I hate saying it that way because like everybody's essential.
Yeah.
But it's like I get the meaning of it, because it's like, me personally, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't feel like I was essential as far as a barber. It's just people don't care, right? They need a
No,
haircut. They start feeling like
It's
I
essential.
feel like it is
It's
essential.
essential.
So
Yeah, like
but the reason why I say this is because, I mean, technically speaking, you don't have to come to me and pay the 40. You could go to someone that was, I'm sure there was someone out there taking $10, $15 a haircut just because they
Yeah.
weren't, you know what I mean? So it's like, coming to me was already, and even to this day, right? We're not, times are tough. Business is not as great
Yeah.
right now. And I do agree with, it's a luxury to be able to go and get a haircut at the price that we're charging. If you
Yeah.
want to get a haircut, you can go anywhere else.
Yeah, you go to
Go pay
Supercuts,
10,
right?
15, but are you going to be happy? No. And
Mhm.
it's like they say, you get what you pay for, right? So
Yeah.
I tell the guys, stick to the prices, but give them good. And that's what we are based off of. If my whole business concept is just giving them quality, make them feel like when they're paying you, it's worth the money. That's what it
and
comes
And-
that's
down to.
exactly
and
what
that-
he
And that is one of the things that I'm going to assess. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things that, how I ended up, meeting Diego, because we moved out to Downey, what was it, about 8-9 years ago. And I can tell you this, in that whole time, I kind of bounced around. I never really found really like an establishment when I could say that.
Well, now here, right?
Yeah,
Because
here.
he almost cried when we. The only reason why he cried was because he left his forever bar. Because when you find a barber, and it's the one.
Where was he
was-
located at?
What we lived in Rialto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know how that feels, man. I know that's like that's your bro right there. I mean, and
well,
It
dude,
was actually
it was a chick.
a girl.
oh, it was
Yeah.
a chick.
Yeah.
She was like 4'0" and
Yeah.
she rolled into
But
to
she
the
looked
shop.
like she'd kick your ass though.
Yeah.
She
No, yeah, she-
and she rode a bike. She
rode a
was
Harley.
cool. Like she was that
That's
chick.
dope.
She
Yeah.
was like, I was like, man, she was a vibe. She was a vibe.
Yeah.
But when we came out here, yeah, he was just kind of like,
And that's the
Every-
hardest thing. I mean, we have those clients every other day that, you meet those people like, yeah, I used to go to this barber. So that applies more pressure to us too, especially when they say that, right? I'm sure if you would have told Jeremy, like, yeah, I don't know if you did, but as a barber, when you know that this is your first time cutting your hair, it's rather than your actual barber, you get this like pressure, like, oh man, like, I hope I
You
get
gotta make that
But
first impression.
yeah, of course. And realistically speaking out of experience, like I have 10 years, 11 years of knowledge and, consistent cutting. And even till now, like if you're a first timer, I'm not going to get you right the first time. Maybe
Yeah.
you need some adapting to do. Your hair is different and stuff like that. So I let my guys know too, and I think that's another thing that a lot of barber owners need to kind of just throw out there, that you just can't put pressure on these guys all the time, right? You have to understand that when you cut hair for the first time, especially if it's a new client, there's adapting to do. You have to learn their haircut. I mean, try the best you can, give them a good service, but it doesn't mean that, because the client sometimes doesn't know how to explain himself.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good point,
Mm-hmm.
because anytime I'd go, I'd say, okay, well, just make it short and then leave a little on the top. But that's very vague information for a barber.
What does make it show is like they do that. They don't. And again, I blame it on my barbers 100% because they're the professionals, right? They should be the ones asking questions. So it's like if they ask you, make it short, and you made it short, and he says, oh, I wanted it a little higher. Well, then maybe you should have just been more, okay, how short, And that's one thing I learned along the years is that you just can't take your client's word for it. Sometimes you got to do the extra, even if they feel like, most barbers nowadays, they don't want to ask too many questions because they feel like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
It's like, no, I rather ask all the questions in the world.
Mhm.
And once I get going, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
see, that's what sets you apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
That right there. And let me just highlight that right there, what you just said.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. We know us. We know when our men get their haircuts, and we just know, like, damn, like what's different here.
Mm.
So he's been going to, different, and I'm not gonna say nothing because you know what? It's a craft and it's a skill, it's a talent, and I'm not gonna knock on anybody. I'm not. But when he walked in after he went to your shop, I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Damn,
You notice.
okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Why is your face so clean?"
Oh,
That's what.
and
That's why he came back.
let's get into it.
These are the behind the door things that we don't see. 'Cause
Yeah.
he came back like, hey man, and then, I mean, as a man, I'll tell you this: if my female ever told me like that, that's like an extra, So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm sure his biggest reason for him to coming back to us because of your feedback, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're his, like
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to impress,
yeah,
you got to impress her.
100%. So I'm glad you liked it, and well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, what the biggest thing that stood out is, when I first walked into the barbershop, and
It's
mind you,
really nice.
I had already, done the research, and that's the beauty about nowadays. Like nowadays, like, if you're really serious, put the time in to work on, your brand and show people what it is. So that was already a good impression, from the beginning. So then I walked in and yeah, like I really liked it because, the place is clean. It's
I've been there
very
one time.
inviting, it's very modern. And so, I got there and
I have comfy benches.
yeah, yeah.
I went there and I was like, I don't want to go because I'd never been there. It was like, and he's like, no, you're gonna like it. I was like, all right, I'll go because the one you went to before, it was like a wooden bench,
oh, okay.
and I was like,
It was like a
"Hell no."
church bench.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
I
little
was like,
higher.
I am not. No, I'll wait for you.
Yeah.
But anyways, I went and I was like, oh damn, it's nice.
Yeah.
The ceiling. I was like, okay, it's a
Yeah.
vibe in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was my concept. Once I opened up that shop, I knew that it was not the biggest, but I've always been like, again, my ADHD. I
Mm.
hate seeing a mess
Mm.
with wires. And I knew that, thankfully now, when I first started barbering, everything was wired. So you had a bunch of wires hanging from stations. Now
Yeah.
that everything's cordless, my concept for the shop was keep the floors clean because, again, there's only so much space. You got the ring lights. Each ring light has a stand, takes up a certain amount of space. So I wanted everything just wall mounted. And that's what gives the illusion of it being cleaner and stuff. Little things like that I actually did my research before opening up the shop it was a really beneficial thing because now, I mean, thankfully, and I got people like you guys, they always say, hey man, like this shop, it's compact, it's nice, and it's just
organized.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was
it has the
so
aesthetic.
Yeah.
and as an owner, I have way more control,
Yeah.
for it. And that's another thing, now I've been in this location for 3 years. And if I were to ever open up another one, I'd do the exact same size and everything because I know it's easier to manage. And as far as you got to think about the barber, the barber, less competition for them. So they're in a
Mhm.
shop where a few walk-ins walk in a day, everybody could eat rather than a 20-chair barber shop where it's
Right.
more of a competition. And I think that's why a lot of barbers end up leaving those shops and stuff because there's only so many people that attend, you know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, I mean, all those little things is what
What sets you apart?
yeah,
But
what makes me, I think what allows me to sustain these same barbers. I
Right.
got to be able to say that I've been having the same barber since I started, and you don't really hear that big.
Yeah, you always hear, like you'll go at a shop and you'll hear, oh yeah, so and so left.
Yeah,
They're
and
only here.
it's like you go and you like his style, but then, oh hey, I'm looking for, oh well, he's not here no more, but he'll get you right, and then you get acquainted with him, and then, oh well, he's not here, and then that's what happens at bigger shops because there's a lot more competition. You got
Right.
to feed a lot more heads. As the owner, yeah, when things are going well and you're filling up these chairs, you're making good money. But I also feel like it's more stress. You
Mm.
have to deal with a lot more. It's always better to just scale yourself. I wouldn't say short. I wouldn't say high, but just
Slow.
right. Just right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what
that's important.
yeah, and I think that's what I'm thankful. Although I did at first, I was like, man, this shop is way too small for me.
Mm.
But now I'm thankful that I adapted, and I think that me having less chairs, I'm able to scale it a lot more because I provide a lot more. So rent goes up and they feel like, man, you know what? I could pay this because first of all, there's no competition. Even if there's a few walk-ins, I still eat, right?
Right.
The prices that we have there, we're in Downey, and again, reasonable prices. If we're charging 35 a walk-in, you're gonna get charged 35, but my biggest thing is give them $35 worth of service. Not just because he's a walk-in, you're not gonna no, talk to the guy. If he has anything that you see that you could either teach him or any shampoos, the smallest things that you could just bring up to a client or make him feel like, man, this barber cares for me, is what's gonna keep him coming back.
Yeah,
You see it?
the biggest thing is like making or having the customer feel welcome.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
everybody at my shop is their own self-contractor, right? They don't work for me, they work with me. That's how I tell them. I always make them feel like they're not employees. They're teammates to me, right?
Exactly.
They help me pay bills just like I pay my own bills, right? So although I do set rules and regulations, but for the most part, I see everybody there as a part of my team, rather not like as me as, oh, I own this. Nah, like everybody has their own station, responsible for their own station. Reason why it's so clean is because I set rules like, hey, once you guys are done for the week, you guys are responsible to clean your own station. There's no reason why I should come in as a owner and touch your stuff. I'll clean the shop, I'll clean the floor, I'll clean the chairs. But as far as your guys' machines and station, and once I set those rules and regulations, it's just like the shop looks a lot nicer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just simple things that as owners, you might sometimes feel like, they're paying me rent. I got to do this. No, you they also have to take it's kinda like at home. Just because you pay rent doesn't mean you're not gonna clean your room. "Oh, I'm paying rent. I get to leave my house as dirty as I want." No, you still wanna live good, clean. When you walk into your house, you wanna make sure it's a nice when you walk into your home and it's a nice you feel better,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
It just makes you the energy's different.
Yeah.
Leaving your house knowing that you made your bed, it just you just do, you feel a lot better. So
You start off on
Your
the
your
right.
your day flows better.
and I mean,
Yeah.
people might think it's not a thing, but it is a thing.
No, it
Once
is.
once you start getting used to those type of things, it's like, and then clients notice that, right? When
Yeah.
you go to the shop and you go to Jeremy and you see his station, right, and he's ready to serve you, you feel good. You feel okay, cool, and that's what it's about.
Yeah,
It's
when the shop is clean and everything is in its place and it's everything, it looks aesthetically pleasing, it's inviting.
yeah,
I trust me, I've been to those shops that, we're not dropping names, but that they're, $20 haircuts and stuff, but the place is run down. Like and we go back to this, you get what you pay for.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
And as like I tell the guys, at first when we first started, people would come and ask, "How much do you guys charge?" 35, and they'll walk away. And then they'll look at me, and I'll look at them and be like, "Hold your ground. Just stand your ground."
Yeah.
They're gonna know your worth. All it takes is for them to come in one time, and that's it, right?
Mhm.
But when they do come in, your guys' job is to make them want to come back.
Yeah,
Mm.
and
Right.
not everybody's your customer.
Yeah. And I mean, we have those all the time. I'd be lying if I say that, people always come back. They don't. Some people like the the haircut. Some people think it's still too much. They're just passing by, whatever. But for the most part, and again, I mean, the guys, for the same reason that they're still with me, is because consistency is bringing back a lot of clientele.
Yeah.
You're not gonna make everybody happy, but that's something we all know. Sometimes people are gonna wanna negotiate and try to get things cheaper, but you just always have to stand your ground, know what you're worth, and yeah.
And it's like one of the things that really brought me back was, aside from, obviously the haircut was great. The wife loved it. One of the things that stood out was the fact that, I was getting the haircut and then, Jeremy kind of, he leaned me back on the chair and, he put on a hot towel. He wrapped on, no, before that, he busted out like a face scrub, and I was getting a facial at the shop. Like
You should have heard the story when he came. He first of when that's when I noticed it. But when he walked in, he's like, "Babe, you don't even fucking know what just happened." I'm like, "What happened?" He's like, "They put some shit on my face," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, oh, it sounds like an exfoliating." Like I'm like, "That's the stuff I tell you to use, but you don't want to." He's like, "Well, Well, but then he put like a towel.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
his story was just like so freaking cute because he was like so surprised
Yeah.
Yeah.
and amazed.
And
I
I'll
was
tell
like,
you this, and I'm not even lying to you. You were the first because I sell the space grub, but he specifically because he knew that you got the whole face service, and you were the first person he used it on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was, and that's the thing that like when he was like, hey, that was actually like one of the first times that he felt like, hey, man, I gave a good service. Like
Yeah.
the way you gave him the feedback. I'll tell you this, you giving him that good feedback and that made his day. Just like how you went home and
Yeah.
oh, believe me, he was in. But that's my thing. That it brought me happiness because again, it's like I seen it. You know, I was like, damn, like, and I'm glad that you felt like that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Paid and you know, and then to be able to go home and explain to your wife about the service you got, like that's what it's about. And yeah, I mean, he was. I'm not gonna lie. He mentioned it to me. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, like that really makes a difference. I'm like, it
No,
does.
yeah,
It really
and
does.
like I'm telling you, that I really had to make it to the point where I talked to you guys, and I was just like, look, man, like I'm a business owner, and one of the things that I would always love is like to get some feedback, for what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm gonna tell you guys, like, you guys are crushing it. I walk in, the place is clean, the service is great. You guys are going above. Like, the prices they're not even extras. It's just, it's part of the service.
Mhm.
And it's just like it's not the cheapest, but it shows where your money is
Yeah.
going as well.
Yeah. And I mean, about the cleanliness, I mean, she even that's another thing that why I admire her so much. Even her being pregnant, she's the one that helps me every Sunday. You know, like she'll help me with whatever she can. I don't, my little sister here and there, but I do the cleaning myself
Yeah.
every Sunday after work. You know, we still go back and we do deep cleaning, and I mean, it's a hassle because we hardly have time to even go out and do things together. But
Yeah.
when
yeah.
it comes down to the shop, it's like, hey, babe, this is what we gotta do, and
But that's not,
this is my partner here. Like
yeah.
this is pretty much the person that helps me. And as of right now, I mean, she's pregnant, and I understand her situation, but it's like I gotta continue to do my thing, right? And I'm just thankful that she's willing to give me the time, and she understands how work could get busy. That's a big part of also having a successful business is having a partner that understands
Understand, yeah.
because if you don't, as
Mm,
stressful as business could get, then you go home and you stress out more.
yeah.
And that could
How do
also
you guys manage that? Because I know like we can relate. Business is it's not like you have a 9 to 5, you clock out, you go home, you're done. No, this is 24/7 just in your head. Okay, you're going over scenarios, you're going over this, what can improve, what can change. That's how business owners our brains are forever cursed.
yeah.
I want to say it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, but how do you guys manage that? Like how because I know like you said, you're focused on the business, you probably don't get to spend a lot of time together. And how do you guys manage that as a couple? Like what is it that you guys do?
Honestly, I feel like she's the one that like she's a strong one because I could say I manage it just good, right? Like, we have our own apartment. She cooks, when she's at home and she helps me out a lot, but I feel like she's the one that feels it the most. I do miss her. I have days where it's like, damn, I could have gone out with her, it's a Sunday. Usually couples are out Sundays and they're having a good time, but I don't even remember the last time we've gone out on an actual date like that. It's been a while, if I'm being honest. So it's like I give it to her. She would be the one to tell you how she manages. I mean, she tells me, she'll open up to me and she'll tell me, hey, at least once a month, like I would like to be able to spend time. And I agree, because work is work, but you also have to make
Yeah.
time,
And
memories and stuff.
it's easy to
Yeah.
get like, dialed in, and you sometimes lose focus because you get so pulled into, the what am I looking for? Mm, Basically, you just go with the motion of it,
Correct.
and sometimes, like, yeah, you lose sight of it, and not because like you don't care, but it's just you got so much going on for you that it's good every now and then to like let us know it's like, hey, um, yeah, we need to spend some time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to like pour into us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard because like for us, I'm like involved a little bit like in the business, so I have to partake in a lot of the decisions and a lot of the moves and things like that. So for us, it's hard to know when to shut down.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, just when is this husband and wife and not,
Partners, like business partners.
business partners? Like, we don't know when. So I had to tell him, I was like, listen, officially, like, from, whatever time the guys start, 6 a.m. or whatever, to maybe like 3, we're business mode. I'm not your wife. And
Yeah.
if I ever, we're conversating, like, this is business, this is decision making, whatever. But after that, that's it.
Yeah.
Because like it would just be on all day. That switch would not come off. And at some point it affects your relationship, I feel. And that's where we have to, I'm sure you guys understand, we found the middle ground, and sometimes it takes a little longer, especially because in your industry, I feel like you have to be more hands-on
Yeah.
and be more present. So I guess that's a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, it does get a little struggle, like it's a struggle because he'll come home and, he socializes more in his job. So when he's home, it's like silent mode. Like
Mm.
Yeah,
he's
he wants to
just,
shut down.
yeah, he's just like low energy. He's just like, I'm tired. Like I hear music all day
Yeah.
blasting. So it's like, okay, and I'm trying to have a conversation, trying to be like, okay, well, the little time that I would have now before you go to sleep, like let's, and
Yeah.
he's just like low energy. But even then, like if it's not that, he's like editing a video and it's like, okay, well, that's how dates go too. Like
Mhm.
something either wrong at the barbershop or someone's like, hey, we need this or so it's like something's always kind of going on, but
Yeah.
it's hard for him to always like shut down or even be like off mode. I
Yeah.
think the only time he'll probably be off mode is when we're out on vacation. That's
Yeah.
the struggle. We do have that. It's like,
But I applaud you. Let me tell you why. Because I understand the challenges and everything, but the way that I see it is we are their sanity. We're the ones that ground them because they go through so much.
right.
Like, I'm sure you have conversations with him just like I have with him, and they don't say it. They keep it
Mm.
because their job as men is to provide, to take care of everything and not to burden us as women.
Yeah.
So they keep it. So, the fact that you are so understanding and you provide him a home where he comes home and he has his sanity, his peace, his quiet, his silence, his environment, his safe zone with home cooked meal. I mean, girl, and you're pregnant.
I know.
I mean, they won't say it, but the peace that we give them is so important for men because they shut down. They don't talk. Like, because you know how I know with this guy? He'll start biting his beard. He's like, it's the funniest thing.
A little happy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's my tick.
or he'll start like doing this on his nails,
Yeah.
and this is me. Stop. Okay, what's going on? Nothing. I'm like, but listen, I know you. I've known you for longer than a decade. Like, how many years?
20 now.
Yeah. I'm like, you can't lie to me. There's always something going on in their head. So the fact that we can provide that, it's important for them.
Yeah. But even then, that's hard. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I do have my times where it's like, oh, you're always working, but then I like bring myself, like, I appreciate what you do. Like he is a
Mhm.
provider, I appreciate that he works. I mean, it's better than,
Yeah.
him not doing anything or doing something. It's like, hello.
Mhm.
But it is hard. Like sometimes when I do cook, I'm like, okay, so what time are you kind of going to be off? So it could be, fresh.
Mhm.
But even then it's like, oh, I got to walk in or
Mhm.
I got another appointment. So he's like home late and then I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But I do thank him for like always working hard and being a provider. Even the little time that he'll have, it was like, it's worth it. Like,
Yeah.
I know what you do and I understand his business and him being an owner.
Yeah. And you know what? It's a tough life. We know this, but it's a route that only the courage, like people that have courage take, let me tell you. Because if it was easy, everybody would be an entrepreneur, a business owner. So, it's like, it's a life that comes with challenges, but we also must understand it comes with benefits because he doesn't have to answer to anyone. And I think that piece for a man is important because I remember when he used to have his, 9 to 5s, and he would always it's always something, right? and he would always be like, "Man, this guy was a dick. Excuse me, a douche today. He treated me like this, and I felt like the chum, like a chump, like I would felt like I was getting stepped on. Like he talked to me like this, or oh man, that guy didn't help me. Like it's always something. But the peace that he has now is better, but it comes with the stresses too. So it's like it's just a different avenue, but I would like to say it's still better than what it could be.
No, yeah, it's just one of those things that you have to take the good with the bad, and you have to weigh out the pros and cons.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's so let me ask you this. Obviously, like so this is your first shop, right? You had it for 3 years now.
Correct.
So what's something that because I know there's a lot of kids that, like you said, they're seeing the trends on TikTok. They're seeing that there's guys that are making they're making money, and they're making it look flashy, trying to sell the dream and whatnot. But like, what's something that like that you're a shop owner for 3 years now? Like, what are some things that you could tell them, or what's like a tip or advice that could help someone out that's like in their situation where they want to level up?
I would say, just not to get discouraged based on what they see on social media. Because social media right now is like, it's big, it's up there. And you see, barbers charging 60, 70, and for all you know, it's a good price point, but would you rather have a consistent client base where you're like reasonable and you have way more coming, or have a clientele of just minimal, but you get paid more.
Yeah, because if you think about it, right, like, let's just say like they're charging $60-$80 a cut, right? If they're great, like I'm sure they'll probably pay for it. But now that consumer is gonna look at it, okay, if I'm paying $60-$80 for a haircut, I may only have to be, I could probably only afford to go there maybe every 3 to 4 weeks,
Yeah.
right? Versus if you kind of meet it in the middle, right? 40,
Yeah.
50, $50. Now it's like, okay, like I could probably make it, every 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more of a consistency there. And, you might not make it on the first cut, whatever, but it'll kind of, build up or compound because now they're coming in more often throughout the year.
Yeah. So that's literally what it is. You just stay consistent. I mean, charge what you feel like you're worth, and don't, sell yourself short, but also where you could be consistent, where people could afford it, and you'll do a good job. If you charge $80, you better be doing a really, really good job.
Yeah.
So it also depends on how much you're gonna put into the haircut and stuff. So that's a big factor of, what you would charge.
So
Yeah.
do you have like what's like a story, like you see like what's his name? Vic Blend, he cuts, all these celebrities or anything like that. Like do you have like a story of like just that one that like kind of pops out to you that you could say like was a memorable one, that somebody that you took a lot from, or
I watch those videos, but I would say like it's inspiring, but
yeah.
I just, again, each to their own. I just feel like, it's always good. I like seeing the barber industry helping people out. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like I'm happy to be able to help my people, the guys that work with me, to be able to provide for their people, their family.
Right.
So I feel like I'm a little, I'm part of that, helping others. And I like seeing when barbers are out, cutting the homeless and,
Yeah.
providing for schools and stuff like
I
that.
see
It's
those
amazing.
videos.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like it's like
It's some,
so that was like I tear up when I
yeah,
watch it because I'm
it's
like, oh
fun.
my God, like it's so cute.
Like this journey, the business journey, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, but when you have the right partner and your spouse supports you, because as far as me, like I get imposter syndrome. Like it's like, man, like, am I really am I really doing it? Am I doing enough? Like, am I fucking this up? Like, how long is this gonna last? Like, should I just go and get a job? To have something steady. You're always gonna have those doubts in the back of your mind.
And that's when I walk in and I smack him and I'm like,
Yeah.
pull yourself together.
But you see, that's what we need, because I feel the same way. Like, a lot of people might think that because that's the last thing people think, right? When you open up a business, you're the happiest guy on earth.
No.
Although you are, you're glad that you achieved your goal.
It's
You get to
fulfilling
say,
for
yeah,
sure.
but the pressure is just the pressure that comes after that is like, all right, well, now I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do now. And if I'm being honest, when I first opened up the barbershop, I didn't, she's the only one that knew about it. My parents didn't know about it. I come from Hispanic parents. The first thing they're going to say is, do you know what you're doing? Do I? No, I don't know what I'm doing. But it's kind of like just throwing yourself in the water. You'll figure out once you're there, like if I never jump in there, like and she was the one that was like, hey, it's now or never. When me and her went out on a date, I had mentioned to her that I wanted to be a business owner. So now it's like, I can't just, I can't back out now. Like, I have someone that believed in me. That was the most important thing, like her believing in me. And like I said, she's the one that found that location and pressed me to go do it. I'm being honest, if it were just me, myself, you play it safe. I'll check it out next week. Who knows that if by next week that
Yeah.
spot would have. So little things like that that I just have to give her credit for because now, yes, my business is starting to, gain traction and stuff, but it's the little things, which is what they do, right?
Yeah.
Because reality, man, we could be hustlers, but we can't do it all by ourselves. You need that foundation. And if you don't have that foundation, that's when you kind of just go crazy. You know what I mean? Like business owners start thinking the wrong way, kind of like what you were thinking. Like, man, I think that all the time. Like, how long is this gonna last me? Like right now, everything's going good, but for how long? And it's like, what if it ends one day? Like, what am I gonna do then? All these years I could have just been doing something else. And I think that all the time because
Yeah,
again,
it's
there's
like
so many barbershops out there competing, and that's what keeps me just always. What could I do different?
how you stand out?
Yeah. I mean, talking about the booking systems that when I first started cutting hair, it was like, hey, I'm gonna call you. Hey, I'm gonna text you. Most clients, they want to feel a connection to a barber. Like I get to call my barber, I get to text him, he replies to me, and it's just like this. Yeah, my barber gets me. When I first started like to think about a system, this was before I was a barbershop owner. It's like they don't respect you or what you want to do, right? I'm gonna start this. You want to book the app, you're getting, bougie, you're doing this and that. They don't like new.
Yeah.
They're used to just, hey man, I need a haircut. But they don't like when they call you and you don't answer because you're busy.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of complaints for me. Hey, we try to get a hold of you and you don't answer. But to me, I have ADHD, right? Like if you're talking to me and I'm texting someone, I can't multitask. I'm the worst at that, right? Like I want to focus on something. Like, hey, hold on. Like I just feel my brain just starts overworking. Like relax.
Stop looking at me.
You get what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
because I know
I
I think
feel
I have that. I think I have
yeah,
ADHD.
like
Look,
you
I
think I feel like you
listen.
like you
I
just
haven't
get
been
overwhelmed.
diagnosed, so I don't know.
I get
Yeah,
overwhelmed
like
too.
no,
Now that I'm older, I admit to it.
it's
Like
true though.
it frustrates me.
When
And
I'm on my phone, if I'm looking at something, see, now you're just connecting my dots. I
yeah,
gotta talk to my doctor because if he dares talk to me and I'm like focusing on something, I'm reading something, I'm like, "Oh, okay, can you stop?
yeah,
Can you just
yeah.
like
And like you
stop?"
get
Because
frustrated.
it's and you get mad. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Because within yourself, like you should be able to do those little things, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the way I see it now. Is like, how could it be? Sometimes my bar, and I notice this because when I'm at work, Jeremy sometimes is like talking to me, but I'm just so focused. They already know, like, oh, he's in another world. They
Yeah.
make fun of me sometimes because then I'll snap out of it. I'm like, oh, well,
Shit. Okay.
but it's true. It's like I just really can't multitask. Like for the life of me, I know I'm not. And I mean, look,
Mhm.
it's not that anything. You just gotta learn how to adapt to it. Realistically speaking, it's like you don't always have to be multitasking. It's a
Yeah.
trait, right?
Mhm.
Whoever has that trait, you know, I salute you.
Because it's kind of a thing though at the shop. Like
Yeah.
the guys are cutting, and then everyone's kind of conversating in
Yeah.
between the cuts.
What she was mentioning earlier is one thing I noticed is that you don't really think about it at the moment, but I'm at work, I'm cutting hair, but you hear music, you hear conversation on this side, conversation on that side, just voices all over, all day, every day. So then I finally get home and I just get to like and I like peace, I like quiet. So I was work. And I'm just like, oh man, like,
There you go.
we
Yeah.
gotta talk about work again. And it's like, I get, I mean, no, nothing wrong with it. Like she wants to know how my day's been and stuff. But back to what she's saying is like, I just feel so overwhelmed, and it's hard because it's like I'm thankful that I tell her all the time, like, you know, that's the reason why I was in a relationship before, because for me to do what I'm doing now, no female, no, you gotta have a really strong female that knows what she wants for her life. That's gonna just sustain. Like I tell her, we want to own property eventually. We have our goal set, just how you guys. And I want to tell you guys, by the way, you guys are looking amazing. You for sure, man.
Oh, thank you.
You've lost, a lot of
Thank
weight,
you.
man.
you.
Like from the first time I've seen you, man. Like your face is glowing. I tell her, like, look, man, like,
Mm.
and I see the work you put in, and that's what it's about. You gotta go and put in the work, no matter how tired and how you sometimes wake up and damn, I'm oversized. What are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. Like, take action, and she takes action, and in a sense of like she knows it's sad because I do like people say, oh, you own your own business, you and your girl must be. When we do travel, we travel, and it's beautiful. We don't
Right.
worry about, thankfully, right? We don't worry about, oh, I gotta be home. We could take as much time off as we want. But as far as little dates here and there, that's the tough part for us because it's like usually I tell her, oh, I'll be off by this time, but then shop gets busy and again, I salute her for that because realistically speaking, especially right now that she's pregnant, most pregnant females, they start, they get their emotions
And the
and for
hormones.
her, it's like people ask me, how's your wife doing? Is she feeling good? Like this and I always tell them she's still working. Thankfully, she works at the juvenile center, and it's not really like a hard labor job to where but again, that's her will. And I respect that about her, that even though she does wake up tired, I hear her in the morning. It's a lot more difficult than it normally is, but that makes me want to go even harder, right?
Yeah.
Because I also got someone that's helping, and that's someone that's working. Man, that's what it comes down to. You're his backbone. Yeah, and she's my backbone. And without you guys, if I'm being honest, we could be as manly as we want to be. We'll take over the world. But you know what I'm saying? Like we
Yeah.
that's here. But realistically speaking, here when we get home, it's like there's nothing like coming home to like the peace and quiet,
Yeah.
a nice cooked meal. That's what I
Yeah.
tell her. Like, yeah, I do provide, and I want to help as much as I can. To me, it's like I get home to wash clothes, a nice little home cooked meal. I get to take off my shoes, relax. The house is clean. Although she still works, while being pregnant is like, so me as a man, sometimes and I tell this to, guys out there that are having kids and stuff and work, you also have to put your part too,
Yeah.
Like as a man, you also have to, I wash dishes. She's here to, I sweep
She
when
can
I
attest to
can.
that?
Yeah,
Okay.
like I wash
Yeah.
dishes, I clean when I can, not just because I own a business and I got to do this. I could use that as an excuse 100%, but
Yeah.
it's about what you do at home
It's
behind
it's
closed doors.
teamwork.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what makes you just grow as a person. Because I
Yeah.
could be lying to everybody, right? Like, oh yeah, I do this at home, and I'm sure they'll believe me. But it's like, what it comes down to is being true to yourself. And I feel like a lot of people nowadays they can't do that. It's about I gotta
Yeah.
just show I do things, and it goes back to the barber game, how much has grown because of again, people having that misconception. You see, I could post a video. I have the platform for it. I own a barbershop. Hey, I charge this, but that doesn't mean it's the truth. I'm not trying to discredit anybody out there, but I think that barbers nowadays, their main focus should be on growing their customer service, right? Their work before they want to start charging the video posting, all that. That comes after the fact, right? And it just comes down to because it's like anything else. I could fake it, but you're gonna eventually realize real quick that, hey, I saw your video on Instagram and the quality is not what I thought it was, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, and that's what I tell all these guys. Yeah, you could charge more than what I charge. I'm not gonna say no names, but there's barbers at my shop that charge more than me, although I'm the owner of the shop. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Their service is good, but in my opinion, I go, like I said before, I go based off of, I'm happy with what I charge already. I'm not trying to, I get a lot more consistent clients that refer me to a lot more
Repeat
clients.
customers,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like, we're living in times where things are getting more expensive as it goes. And me personally, I want to be able to help, you know, be able to have people get good haircuts and not break their
Break the
pocket. Yeah,
bank. Yeah.
because it's tough, it's tough, and it's only gonna get tougher by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, things ain't getting cheaper. Yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to. And clients like yourself that want to get a good service and want to feel like they're accounted for, those are the ones we're looking for, right? Because those are the ones that just keep coming, and they're the ones that show you the support,
Yeah. I
refer
mean,
you and
it's
whatnot.
you're, like you said, I mean, regardless, I mean, we're going to get a haircut.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to let this hair grow out.
Yeah.
I mean, she'll probably divorce me, if I go a month.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that, listen, I'm going to a place where, you feel welcome. The service is great. And, you guys go above and beyond. And, that's what makes you want to go back and be a repeat customer. And the best part is, it's like you guys are part of the community. You
Right.
guys live here too. This isn't a corporate or business, like, I don't know, Supercut. I mean, now I don't know if they're like franchise or whatever,
Oh my
but
God! Don't say
I
Supercuts.
think they are franchised,
The-
they're yeah, I mean they're everywhere.
right.
So if they're not franchised, I mean the family's doing real good and
Yeah.
expanding, but I think so. I just again, the reason why we could say as much as we want about Supercuts, right? And I hear a lot of things about them where it's like,
Horrible.
but my thing is this, like, why are they still in
I
business?
know.
Even if they are horrible. The thing about, being horrible, I would say a lot of people say is because the haircuts they do there aren't really necessarily like fades or any of the modern
It's
stuff.
not for the culture,
It's
that's for
not.
sure.
It's just for, I have clients.
It's like Billy
And
just
it's
wants to get
expensive.
cleaned up on the sides. That's
Yeah.
it.
It's like, yeah, you get cleaned up on the side. It's a legit process. I'm sure they have all these, pay online, all this because they're more franchise. It's easier for the client. But the way I see Supercuts, it's like any other franchise, whether it's food.
It's just
You got
generic.
Tacos Gavilan that sells Mexican tacos, but if you talk to Hispanics, not a lot of people like Gavilan. They rather go to a little taco
They know a
Yeah.
spot.
but why are they still in business? They get like, other cultures that don't really know about the taco industry. They just want to go get a quick, and it looks a lot more nicer.
Yeah, it's
You know what I'm
appealing.
saying? So it's like they still make their money because they get
It's kids. It's not so much the quality of it. It's
yeah.
it's the quantity.
It's just say
it's the
I was
volume.
able to eat some tacos for a decent price. Nowadays, you go to a street vendors, their tacos are $3.75, almost $4. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see the same Supercuts is kind of like the same concept. It's
Mhm.
a more like you get what you're gonna come in. It's professional. Everybody has a license. Talking about like that's one of the hardest things, about
Yeah.
running a business is getting licensed barbers.
Yeah.
That's a concept again that like a lot of barbers don't think of when they're opening up a shop. Is I could open up 15, 10 chairs, but try to get all those with the license,
Yeah.
and you as an owner, you have that in the back of your head. Man, if state board comes in, because state board is I'm sure you guys know about state board.
Yeah.
It's OSHA for barbering regulators. They pull up and they
And I'm sure they probably come unannounced, right?
yeah, they've already showed up to my facility once, and they made sure to look all over the shop. You got everything labeled. Make sure all your cleaning supplies are up to. You know what I'm saying? They look at the smallest details. Make sure your gels don't have hair contaminated. If I'm styling his hair and I'm grabbing someone else's, I've cut someone else's hair. I'm contaminating the gel with someone else's hair. Then I'm applying it to him. It's just little things like that that is like technically speaking hygienic, where it's a good thing. I feel like it's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Me that I take cleaning is serious. I love when and I'm gonna be honest, I did get cited for one ticket, I'm not gonna lie. It was for having not disposable towels in my shop, right? I had the towels hanging from a wall, but they weren't covered. I had it nice and neat, but to them it's like powder or dust could land on the towels, right? They're
Ah.
exposed. So that's something that I had to adapt and learn from, although I thought I already had it, set up. And again, those are things that I had to learn,
Yeah.
adapt, and
Yeah.
It's
I'm
never
glad.
failures. It's always a
Yeah,
lesson.
yeah,
Yeah,
You know.
there's no laws. These are all just lessons because it's like you said, every business, every industry,
Yeah.
shit. We just
Yeah.
we
Trust
just
us.
got one of our trucks inspected at the scales,
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? And it's like you
and yeah, we got cited,
Every time
and it
I
was like
go
for
into
like
those
a
scales, oh
headlight.
man.
but my thing is like, look, I don't know, you knew about the headlight. Maybe you did. You didn't think it was a much of an issue. Same thing with myself. I'm not gonna say I knew that was an issue, but I thought just having it nice and organized, it says
Clean,
towels.
yeah,
They don't care about none of that. And again, I'm not perfect. I got the citation. I learned from it, and it's not gonna happen
yeah.
again. And that's part of, again, business in general. You just
That's
gotta
growth.
learn how to take the L, right? I mean, and the tickets aren't cheap, so you have to be, again, when it comes down to running a business, is making sure you have capital for emergencies. So it has a lot to do with.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that people don't understand. They think, oh, man, like you're getting in these, this revenue and you got money to blow, but
Yeah.
it's like no, like you have to, like you said, you have to think ahead and you have to know that and project. Like things can happen.
God forbid your
Yeah.
truck breaks down. You gotta have the capital to get that running again.
Right.
You're not gonna have.
A driver tips over.
Yeah, and it's the I see that all the
That
time when
really
I.
did happen actually. One of our drivers.
Really?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
man, I'm sure that was a tough situation for you.
Yeah,
Did you get that call, or like where were you when you got a call, or like
I
The
was.
guy was tipped over. Hey, I tipped over.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He was
In
on
the
the
freeway.
How long ago was this?
A
year and
year.
a
Oh,
half
so
ago.
this was
Yeah.
not that long ago. That's big
No.
say. Okay, well,
It was
how did you react, and how did you assess the situation?
Well,
That's a tough. I mean, I'm sure you were having a good old day, and then you.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
I think I was dropping off the kids at
Yeah.
school.
Like that's one
Ah,
of the things that, for us, our hurdle in our business is that we're not we don't necessarily it's not hands-on. We're at home
yeah,
24/7. But we're not free
yeah.
because every day it's something. Every day we wake up, it's a driver called off,
Mm.
or a guy tips over, or a guy hits the
Or
gas station sign, or it's
I mean, and it can be like anything, It's like,
yeah,
hey, we got missing product, or
missing this,
or
paperwork, or
so it's it's part of business,
yeah.
that when it's great, we're able to do this. We're able to take our kids to school. We can go and we go work out, and we're able to do our podcast and kind of work on our brand. And that's one of our things that we're really focusing right now. It's like we're not so much as like, yeah, like the business, it's running and stuff, but we are building a brand. We're talking to people. We're want people to know about the different industries, that really like get a scope of the entrepreneur lifestyle.
Yeah.
And and you're not the only one. Like we've had other people that that are in business, in different industries, and they all say the same thing. That they all go through their own hurdles. They all go through that imposter syndrome,
Mm.
their doubts, and that's just kind of
It's
like
common.
how it goes. You
Yeah.
have to understand that this industry, or really being your own boss, it's not a smooth sailing. It's
No.
bumpy. When it's rewarding, it pays off, and you get to like really be thankful for the position you're in. But
Yeah.
then like sometimes when you're in the mud and you're in the thick of it,
Mhm.
you're just like, what the fuck did I get myself
Yeah.
into?
Yeah.
You
It's
start
scary.
you start just overthinking everything, and
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of where our mentality comes in, right?
Yeah.
Like this is what you, and no going back. I mean, just recently, maybe a week ago, I just renewed my contract right there at the.
That's a shot.
Yeah, I already completed my 3 years, going on my third year, so it was a it was a scary feeling, although I already had the business running, but you think like, man, I'm about to extend it for so and so years, and you're like you're committing yourself to that dedication for that long again, and
Yeah.
that's the way I saw it. Like I'm about to do exactly what I did, maybe even harder now for the next 7, 8 years, right? So it was, again, although it is a blessing knowing that I'm established, okay, but also knowing that I have a lot of work to do. um that's part of the business, is finding new ways to engage with your your workers, your what could I do different? How could
Yeah.
I make this process easier?
Mhm.
Especially right now with all this AI technology, I feel like I want to really get into that with the booking. As far as the booking system, you book through that system. That's a new system we just got for the barbershop, which is 100%
Yeah. And
a lot better.
there's a lot of systems. I mean, I know that they even have, because I was kind of dabbling into it, like just kind of, messing with like, AI systems and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, they have some really neat stuff where like, they call your shop and it's like an AI assistant.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't even have to answer no.
No.
And I'm gonna be honest. I've talked to AI representatives and they understand you sometimes even better than an actual person does,
Yeah.
right? Like, and they answer phone calls a lot faster.
Yeah.
They're more consistent.
Yeah.
It's a robot.
It's like one of the things like I told her for our business, like she takes care of like certain orders that kind of happen throughout the day. That was kind of one of the things that I'm really trying to integrate because like you said, it's a robot. Like it doesn't have any errors. Like,
Doesn't.
you could miss like a small detail from an order, whatever. They're gonna question it. They're gonna, get to the bottom of it, and they're gonna adapt. So, like that's one of the things that you have to, like you said, stand out.
It's scary because you're
It is.
like, I mean, even myself, when I first got the system, I feel useless now
Mm.
because now I don't even get to interact with my
Yeah.
clients. And they sometimes feel that some type of way. They're like, hey, man, we don't even get to interact with you no more. Before they used to hit me up to get a haircut, and it was like that little interaction. Yeah, bro, I got you. It was that knowing that I was the one texting them
Yeah.
but now, since everything's so just animated, it's kind of like, and if I'm being honest, now I don't even have to look at my phone. Sometimes I'm at work and it'll just send me a text, hey, so and so just booked for an hour from
Yeah.
now. And I love that because before I used to have to turn around, have to be like, oh, yeah, let me look at my time and let me see what I got for you. And then by the time I will get back to them, oh, I'm already home, man. We'll do it another day. So with that system, you do it at your own time.
Yeah.
Once you get out of work. "Hey, you know what? I think I have time later today. Let me see. You don't have to call my phone, text
Right.
me, wait on my reply. So honestly, it was new at first. Yes, I had people being skeptical, but back to what I was telling you, once I opened up this business, I knew that I had to just take that step, right? Even though I was scared because now I'm a business owner and maybe I am going to lose my clientele, but I think I was at a point where I said, you know what, they need to respect what I'm trying to do for the sake of my business. And even if I lose some clientele, I'm at a new spot, I'm going to gain more.
But you also have to look at it this way, like you just stated one thing, like it does kind of lose that personal touch, right?
Yeah.
Where you would be the one to personally reach out and confirm and text, right? But then look at it this way. You're saving all that time, right? Of
Yeah.
replying, answering phone calls and, confirming appointments. Instead of like you feeling like you're losing touch with your clients, maybe like you can use that time and energy to now go on more on social media and and really like put your brand out there,
Yeah.
and say, hey guys. And one of the things that I had told Jeremy was like, hey, you don't think that it's, you might think it might not work or whatever, but like every time that you'll post stuff like, hey, I'm gonna, this is my schedule for the week, or I'm gonna be cutting hair tomorrow. Like when I go on social media, I see that, and then sometimes I'll be like, oh, you know what, maybe I should go, get a haircut
It
tomorrow.
sparks that little,
Yeah.
like maybe that I do need one.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know
so
what I
what
mean?
I'm saying is like, keep your customers connected,
Mhm.
keep them always like, your brand or, your business in the back of their mind.
I agree 100% because I mean, think about it. Years ago, how would you promote your business? Like, we didn't have social media.
No.
That's why I
Mhm.
tell these guys is like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm I'm a little old school. Right? At first, when all this social, I just, you know what? Word of mouth. When I first started cutting hair, thankfully, I was in Bell Gardens. I didn't do business cards. I didn't. It was just all word of mouth.
Yeah.
And it worked a couple years back, but that doesn't mean it's always gonna work,
No.
right? So I had to adapt. And again, like she says, most of the videos on my platform I do off my iPhone. I go on CapCut. I edit all my videos. I'm the
Yeah.
one that promotes. I'm the one that does pretty much everything, right? I don't think I've ever had anybody to go and record, although I should, and I want to start, getting into that to save me more of my time. But
Hey, we know a guy, and he does great.
yeah, so
JT.
Yeah.
so for me, it's like, you know what? My thing is like kind of just how I am. I always want to try it myself first to be able to say I am able to do it too, right? I just don't
Right.
want to
Mm.
quickly think, oh, I need promotion. Let me have someone. I got an iPhone camera. I could do it myself. And so far it's worked out for me. I promote on Instagram. I pay for promotion, and I try to do as many giveaways and just try to again help out the community and be able to give good service.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's worked out for me so far is again just having the shop family friendly. First of all, that was my main thing. Not
Yeah, I can
just
contest. There's no one in the back, playing craps or.
yeah, and it's like I mean I've worked at shops like that, right? And again I grew up in Mill Gardens. I love my city where I grew up and stuff, but the shops there weren't the nicest. And when you grew up at a barbershop back then, it wasn't the foundations of the shops back then weren't how they are now. Like
Yeah.
you said, it was
It
more
was a hood shop.
yeah, it was like more hood. You would have
Mhm.
friends hanging out and stuff. So once the reason I chose Downey is because I know that in Downey is, a lot more uh diversity. People here are just way more just, yes, maybe a lot more pick your clients because there is more money being moved around in a lot of Hispanic owned businesses. So I just saw all of that, right? Every time I come to Downey, the difference, the vibration of businesses, right? Like I knew that owning a shop in this location, this area was, and the price I was able to
It's
charge
gonna have
as
to be a
well.
higher standard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I was also scared of that because I'm like, damn, like I'm going from a shop that where I don't know these standards to where I gotta make these standards for myself. And it's a decision I don't regret because now just recently, we got a certificate from Google for Google reviews and stuff. And it's like little little achievements like that is what
Mhm.
makes you
Pushes you harder.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
100% because we're a small shop. We don't have that long in business and thankful to my guys because they're the ones getting feedback. Jeremy, he's one of the good ones. He doesn't know how to speak English, but that's one thing I admire about him is that he gives it his best, makes clients feel comfortable. This is what I tell my barbers is like whether you know the language or not, it's your body language what speaks at the end of the day. It's not
Mhm.
your verbal language, it's body language. The way you put a cape on a client to the way you ask them, even if it's in Spanish, it's the way you stand and it's the way you present yourself. And a lot of barbers I understand when you're new, it's a big fear because as a man, this is what you care about, right? Your beard, your hair, that's what either is gonna make you feel confident and achieve whatever you want for the day, or it's gonna kill your whole day and you're gonna feel
Yeah.
so you have a lot of responsibility when you're first starting, right?
Yeah.
It's tough, but again, I try to have meetings with my guys every week. That's another thing I would recommend a lot of barbershop owners should do is be consistent, talk to your guys, not just for bad stuff, but the good stuff.
Mhm.
You don't have to have meetings to be talking, tell them what they're doing wrong. Sometimes they have to tell you what you're doing wrong. And
Yeah.
as an owner, that's how I run my shop. I always give them a day out of the month to tell me what they feel I need to do. Hey, we could do this. Hey, we could do that. Right. And because it's only me, right? I could think I got everything figured out, but maybe some guy's idea is just when I need it.
Yeah.
There's only so much I could do. So
Yeah.
I let these guys know, just we're all a team. You guys have just as much as saying as me. So it's a beautiful thing when you guys have that bond, right? And yeah, I would encourage a lot of barbershop owners to do the same. Keep their barbers close, try to have meetings with them, try to, understand where they're coming from as well and their needs. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that pay rent and
Yeah.
they're the ones that make it possible for you to even not have to go to work.
Yeah.
And it's a consistent thing. You just gotta go and
Mm.
keep going at it.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll catch a rhythm, just like how you guys have. You catch a rhythm. And I'm sure at first, your first phone call, you get stressed, you think the world's over, you feel like, but
Yeah.
now I'm
Yeah.
sure it's like you manage. Things happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just gotta make sure you're prepared for it. And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Just being prepared for it, having capital on the side to be able to okay, let's fix this. It's a setback, but it's not gonna set me back.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's those are the things that you start learning, like you said, when they first, when it's new, it's something that you don't know how to go with it. But then once you figure it out, it's okay. Like now we know.
Mhm.
So something happens like that again.
Know how to,
There's ways around it,
yeah,
and there's
Yeah.
always ways around it.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's people dealing with this every day. It's just a matter of how you take it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, you're the one that they look up to at the end of the day. That's what makes it harder. It's like you're the owner, so you gotta put a poker face at all times.
Yeah.
Even when things are going bad, you just gotta show up and hey, everything's gonna be okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I run my business and let these guys at the same time give me feedback because I'm not perfect. But I am learning. I'm 28 years of age. I have 28. I'm about to turn 29. So it's
Yeah.
I started at 26.
But you have, you know what? Like, you have so, like, what am I trying to say? Like, I admire your thought process because you're young,
I
you
know. I always
know?
thought him he's like an old soul.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, because when the business took business classes and stuff like that, a lot of the things that you're saying is actually textbook. If you didn't know, like, the strategies that you're using for your business,
Yeah,
your thought process, everything that you're saying, you're gonna be successful. I'm
I
telling you
really
right now,
appreciate it. Thank you.
because yeah, no, and not only that, I'm glad that we did this today because we wanted to give you guys the spotlight, for your business, get the word out there. But I'm also happy that we were able to hear your story, especially the Drake,
Yeah,
how you
and I'm
came up. That
telling
was
you, and
awesome.
that's the story. Like
Yeah.
I don't really give to. It's funny, but it's like it's the
It's a
truth.
good
Like
it's a good one.
you would think, like like it's just the way things come at you.
Yeah.
It's natural, right? And it's just
Yeah.
a matter of how you perceive it.
And
Exactly.
that's what and that people nowadays, like, that's what they want to hear now.
Yeah.
They want to hear the story. They want to hear. They don't just want to see, like, just the nice, clean shop and everything runs great.
Yeah.
No, like, they want to know, like, okay, like, this is, like, someone's business, someone's
This
brand,
is their
someone's.
baby.
Yeah,
This is how it got started. And not only that, just to be able to hear, how you express yourself about your business,
yeah,
your employees, how you carry yourself. I hope that this entices people to want to go to your business just because you have something that a lot of business owners lack.
yeah, and
You're humble,
yeah,
you have a big heart, and you're very wise. And the way you run your business is you don't see it as just like capital,
yeah,
capital.
nah.
You see it as I want to give quality
Mhm.
and I want to give an experience and I want to make people feel a certain way when
That
they
they
leave.
spent their money
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
Most of the
That's
barbers that
important.
most of the barbers I have right now, they're all people like two of them used to be my clients, and to be able to teach them how to cut and learn. I used to work with everybody that's in that shop right now. We used to work together. So first of all, to be able to give them work, it was a blessing. But
Yeah.
for anybody that wants to open up a shop, it's the hardest part is not opening it. It's the maintenance of it, right? The building the team. What do you
Yeah.
want for that barber shop? You could hire random barbers that are gonna pay you your rent every
Exactly.
week. But it comes down to like, what's the standard you want for that shop? I
Yeah.
think that's the hardest part, right? And I tell that to everybody. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it's like you gotta make a comfortable spot. And again, the hardest thing about business is realizing that none of these guys are gonna stay with me forever, right? What I tell these guys is this: I created this barbershop to the best of my ability for if they ever leave, is not to go to another shop, but not to open their own shop or if not to expand, either buy property or whatever the case is. But if they ever leave my shop to go to another shop, then I got to start evaluating what am I doing wrong, right? What is it? Because I have barbers that come from other shops. The first question I ever ask them is, well, what didn't you like? So that's another way I come about. I want to see what was wrong with the other. Always trying to learn.
Mhm.
Being a sponge because I'm not perfect, right?
Yeah,
And
and you're learning.
I'm learning from it. And again, I think that's what makes these guys feel so comfortable and stuff. So again, back to what I'm saying, to have your own barber shop is and caring about your barbers is the main thing, right? They're the ones that are gonna take you to the next level. They're the ones you have to rely on for walk-ins. You can't do it all yourself. you
Yeah.
know? So there's little things along the way that you have to adapt to, and again, make sure you hear out, listen to your barbers, and again, always try to improve, whether it's on specials, giveaways, little
Yeah.
stuff like that, that people you could interact, people get involved with the city, which I want to do this year. I want to get more involved with the city. Yeah. I mean, hopefully a lot of great things to come for us this year. But again, I mean, I'm just thankful that I was able to extend my contract. I mean, 3 years
Yeah. And
was
it's
an
a good
eternity when I
spot.
first started, you know? It was like,
Yeah.
damn, 3 years. Now it's like,
You
Time
know,
becoming
flies.
nine.
you should entice like customers with say, hey, this is a good spot because you got a nail shop, bring
Yeah.
your wife,
Yeah.
and you got that one cafe in the corner.
Yeah.
Like Coco.
Yeah.
I've been there. It's really cute.
It's cute.
It's
It's
super
like a
cute,
good,
and it's like they got good coffee. Like I feel like royalty when I go there.
yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
cool.
it's really cute.
And that
So
that 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 plaza right there. I mean, if
a
par-
panaderia.
yeah, the parents come, they leave their kids. Oh, I'm gonna go to Ross. I'm gonna go to Marshalls. I'll go
Yeah.
shop around. I'll come back.
Oh yeah.
And then
It's right next door.
it's right next door. So reasons to why I was just like, you know what, I can't let this location go just yet. It was like 3 years was way too
Yeah.
fast. If I would have gone back in time, I would have done it for a lot longer. But you come to realize, especially when you're first starting, when they hit you with 3 years, 3 years is 3 years, right?
Yeah.
The first year, I got 2 more years to figure it out, and it seems like forever.
Mm.
But thankfully, man, I mean, I'm there, and hopefully we just continue to grow
Yeah.
and receive a lot more clients like yourself, with their own businesses that I get to learn from. Because honestly, man, just hearing you out, reasons to why I'm here in this podcast, I overheard him talking to Jeremy, and again, just hearing his journey, how he goes to the gym, and again, man, you're looking really good, healthy, man.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel like I could do a lot more. And it was motivation to me. And I even like just went out of, hey man, you talking about a podcast? Like I would love to be part of that.
Yeah.
Just because again, the name Heavy to Hustle is like
Yeah.
it's dope, like
Yeah.
it really goes there. Like I used to feel like all this weight was on me, right? And then you just
Yeah.
start to hustle.
Yeah.
And
You take that heavy, but
you
you take
forget.
it to
Yeah,
hustle.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like I still got the same
Yeah.
weight, but I just feel like now it's just
It pushes. It's
yeah,
fuel.
yeah,
It's the fire.
exactly. And that is the main reason why me and him had to talk. Like, what I gotta come on here, and this platform you guys are doing is amazing. You being
Oh,
your own
thank you.
entrepreneur, man. Like
Thank
I
you.
know it's not easy, and I give you guys props and credit for being able to do this as a couple together, spend time, quality time. We were just talking about we hardly have quality time, so this is something that honestly I really enjoyed, and
No, thank
you
you.
guys really have something good here, honestly.
Thank
Yeah,
No,
really, really
we really
nice.
appreciate you guys taking the time from your guys', I know today, was your day off. So I thank you for,
Yeah.
taking your day off and, spending it here with us, but that's, well, so how can people find you? Like how, obviously, they all know Headline Barbers, it's right here in the city of Downey, but
And we're gonna we're gonna put
Yeah,
your
yeah.
info
So I'm,
and
I'm
everything.
located off of Stewart and Gray in Lakewood. We are right across the street from Pescador. We take walk-ins every day. You guys could look us up. Headline Barbers. We're on Google. The Squire system, like I say, you guys could book online, or our phone number is out there. But yeah, man,
yeah,
we are located in the city of Downey. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So
So yeah, we're gonna
Best
put
place to
his
be.
his handle.
Yeah.
We'll put up the picture of his, the Instagram, and so that way, if you guys, want to get a good quality haircut,
Great
know,
experience.
yeah, you guys want to feel welcome and, get the hot towel service with the face massage, come on down, guys. But,
Yeah.
once again, guys, thank you guys for coming. We
thank you guys for
appreciate
having
it.
us. Thank you guys for having us.
With that being said, guys, if you guys made it this far, please like and subscribe. Share this, share this to, anybody that, that they, they're barbers and they want to get, to the next level. And, like, this is it. This is for them, let them know that,
Yeah.
it's,
This was a great story, an inspirational story with a great story on how he came up with the name, and I'll
Yep.
never forget it. That
Thank you,
was
guys.
awesome. But
Appreciate
this
it. Thank you, guys.
motivation for, someone that is trying to do the same thing and just they don't know how to get started, or they're scared, or this is a great story for you, I feel.
Well, guys, once again, you guys know where to find us, and if you don't, we're on Instagram, TikTok. We're at heavy2 hustle, and that goes, like I said, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And with that being said, thank you guys, and that's a wrap.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.